It's the Morgan You Know comedy movie draft.
There's so many ways you can read something that's funny. What are you watching a movie for if you got to read it?
Who will win? Cowboy Derek,
Crazy characters such as you guys.
Rachel,
But just like you, I feel like that's something I quote consistently.
Rod,
I'm in the trenches taking grenades, John.
Old Man Chris,
I mean, you're supposed to be a movie guy.
Jimmy. Personal shots here, come on!
That's why it's my wild card.
The Morgan You Know podcast, available on all podcast providers. Welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the Morgan You Know's podcasting network. You're in the ring with Jimmy, Rod, and Chris. Chris, give me a great old man take tonight.
Let me talk to you.
Ha ha! Yeah!
This is going to turn into love for Drew McIntyre bit more than an old man bit. Let me just say. Because every week he's coming out and proving why he is the man and why he isn't turning heel and how he's still out there trying to get the belt that he so richly deserves.
I love the fact that you started off in my ninth segment. You just put that number one. My California honey drop Rod. We'll get to yours in a minute here, buddy. Don't you worry about it. We'll get there. But let's talk about some Drew McIntyre right now. Drew McIntyre asked Seth Rollins, hey, you're going to have to reinvent yourself for the 700th time or whatever it was during that interview. Interview went a little long, not going to lie, gentlemen. Went a little long for me, but I like where they're going. I like the feud. Rod, tell me, please. McIntyre's still going heel, right?
Oh, of course McIntyre's still going heel. And listen, the longer that Chris denies this fact, the more enjoyment we will all get when the moment finally comes and Chris's heart kind of breaks, right? We know the Grinch stole Christmas. That's going to be coming around the corner here as we roll into the holiday season. His heart grew 3 sizes that day when he decided to save the Who's Christmas. Chris's heart will shrink 3 sizes when Drew McIntyre goes heel.
Chris, are you prepared for that or not?
I think what Rod sees as heel isn't going to be what I see as heel. I don't see Drew out there doing anything like interfering in matches or causing people to lose belts. That's what he's fighting against. That's why he has an issue with Jey Uso, which he should. So I'm saying, how is this even a concept of turning heel? He is standing up for what he believes is right.
So, Rod, we've got to watch Chris here because Chris, on our other podcast, Balls and Brew, which you can listen to on the Morgan You Know's podcasting network, Chris has been right so many times. He was right on Bill Belichick not being a good coach. He was right on Pat McAfee and Aaron Rodgers, paying him is perfectly fine. I stand corrected on both of those. So I may have to really look at this Drew McIntyre, Rod, and think he might actually be right, and he might actually still be a good guy. What are your thoughts here, bud?
I think that everything in the world of professional wrestling is open to interpretation, right? I think that every fan that sits in the stands or watches at home on television gets something different out of each segment than per se you or I do, Jimmy, right? So
Sure.
If Chris wants to continue believing that Drew McIntyre is a force for good in the world and that he is virtuous and that the only things he are doing in the rings are the same exact thing that Chris himself would do in the ring were he a 6'8", 280-pound Scottish warrior, that's fine. But you and I, Jimmy, we know a little bit better. We understand more the history that this wrestling game is steeped in, and Drew McIntyre is definitely becoming a heel.
Some people think that seeing is believing, but no, speaking is believing. And Rod, I want you to speak to me about what you're hot about tonight.
Listen, I'll tell you what I'm hot about this week, Jimmy. I'm not going to take any time away from you, our humble host. We have a bit of a hard out tonight, and as you already alluded to, we have many things we can get into in the world of professional wrestling. I do not envy you being the man who has to guide us through that journey and pick all of the different things we talk about. So I will step out of the way and allow you to bring up the most important thing that has happened since the last time we podcast.
Pretty Deadly re-debuted on SmackDown. They beat the Brawling Brutes. Rod, were you that excited? Were you excited? You're excited to see him back, no question. Do you think they had a good and worthy debut?
Yes, I'll tell you exactly why. The Mrs. Morgan You Know, who has made an appearance on this podcast one time she came on and dropped her wrestling knowledge for everybody. She happened to be walking into the room as I was watching the Pretty Deadly segment, and she was taken by Elton and Kit, right? She was absolutely laughing. She said, "This is brilliant." She absolutely got everything that Pretty Deadly is about from the first moment she laid eyes on them. And if that's not a perfect wrestling gimmick, Chris, I don't know what is. So you can have your personal bias against Pretty Deadly. That's your demons to deal with. But what these guys do on screen is pure entertainment gold, because Kate, who doesn't watch nearly as much wrestling as we do, saw it the first moment she laid eyes on him. I was excited as hell. Yes, boy, my guys are back.
I just don't like them. That's what it boils down to. I just don't like them. But isn't that what they're supposed to be? They're supposed to be that tag team that I do not like. If that's their purpose, they are succeeding in that purpose, because I don't root for them or cheer for them.
If there was ever a team that was not a Chris team, I think it's Pretty Deadly. And they are doing that role to the best they can. Speaking of roles and changing roles, Vince McMahon had a little change in role. He was told by Ari Emanuel, who is his boss, and he says that for the first time in like 40 years, that you're not in charge of creative. You're not going to be around creative. I hire people to do jobs. Triple H is going to be in charge of creative. Vince McMahon is out. He's not doing anything creative. And this isn't a, hey, I'm leaving for a little while, but I'm coming back because I'm Vince. He's not in creative anymore. Rod, good, bad, scared? What's going on here?
Well, of course it's good, right? I mean, of course it's good. We have nothing but ample evidence of the times where Vince was not dipping his fingers into the creative storytelling in the WWE. As to that being a boom, we're seeing a few more title matches on Raw and SmackDown. We're seeing a few more matches between people we haven't seen fight before. So I think it's pretty clear by the television product already that we are seeing, different creative. Vince was a big fan of way more talking segments than we've seen. Some of those are still running long, because I think Hunter's trying to unwind us out of those, and you got to do a little talking to get back out of those. But we're not seeing the same old matches over and over again. We're not really seeing people lock horns like on a random Raw or SmackDown before they're then going to fight at the premium live event. These were other things that Vince did all the time. So I think it's great, but you and I both know, Jimmy, Vincent Kennedy McMahon is a powerful, powerful dude. And so I would not hold out that somebody as motivated as he seems to be, right? If you believe certain stories that are out there, Vince only sold the WWE to try to get back in. He's not going to stop. So I don't know that it's forever, but it's a good thing now.
Chris, would it surprise you if Vince McMahon came up with $8 billion and just bought the WWE back now because he can?
It wouldn't surprise me. I do think that nothing was going to get done like that, though, until at least after these new TV deals get ironed out, right? Like, that's the big thing right now. So I also don't see Vince getting back into calling the shots until after those deals are done either.
So we have the SmackDown deal done. That's going to USA. Raw is still up. That's a big one. I would assume USA would keep that unless they're thinking of going somewhere else. But they've already got the NBC Universal deal with the four specials going on. NXT is big as well. They've really done well. Say what you want. Becky Lynch is a ratings grab. Cena and Undertaker did good too. Not as good as some people would have thought, but all that went well. I think it's a good thing that we have one direction and we know where we're going now. Triple H probably already has his WrestleMania matches kind of in the cards, which is great. We want to, obviously things can happen, like LA Knight, could do something, but I think we know where we're going to go, especially with some of the results that we had here. Another quick story before we get into Raw and SmackDown. Looks like CM Punk is not coming back to the WWE as of this moment. Now, I've got to stress this. At some point, I think CM Punk will be in the WWE again. And everyone's going to say, oh, look, no one knew, da-da-da-da-da. As of this moment, he's not coming back. I honestly believe right now, with all the storylines they have going and the directions they're going, they really don't need him. They have a nice path to go, but CM Punk would always be somebody good at a Royal Rumble, which would be ironic because it's basically the last match he wrestled in WWE when he had the injury. I don't know, Chris, are you a CM Punk guy at all? I know Rod is doesn't really care too much about him. Are you excited that he's not coming back?
I have no feelings one way or the other. I
Well,
was
not a pretty deadly situation. Hate Pretty Deadly. Don't care about CM Punk. I'm just seeing where you're going here.
yeah, because I
Okay.
mean, I didn't watch wrestling when he was wrestling, and I never watched any of his UFC stuff, however little there was. So I don't have
You have 4
it,
minutes. You could probably watch all of it. It's not very long.
probably. So like I really don't care. Like I have no history of watching him, so I don't know what to expect or anything else like that. So it doesn't bug me one way or the other.
I mean this in all sincerity, and I know I'm very sarcastic sometimes just because I love you to death. You're fantastic. I love when you don't care because you are so like, some people just say, I don't care. It's like, gee, thanks. But you are so passionate about your not caring that you actually care, which is terrific. I love that. Speaking of passion, Rod, talk to me about CM Punk.
Well, here's the thing, Jimmy. I like to think of myself as nothing if not consistent. Okay. And so if I'm going to come on this podcast and take shots at Naomi and Sasha for not playing nice and not agreeing to go along with storylines and taking their belts and running away and complaining about what stories their characters would and wouldn't do, then I certainly can't put my arms around a guy like CM Punk, who basically the only stories we have about this man in the last wrestling company he was employed in is that's all he did. Not only complain about the storylines that he was in and not only maybe not sell things that he was supposed to, but literally then get in physical altercations with people in the back room. So if I'm going to take a shot at Sasha and Naomi, I certainly can't be a fan of CM Punk. And you're absolutely right, Jimmy, that there are many storylines we don't need CM Punk, but you're also a smart enough wrestling fan to know he's coming back, and he's still probably coming back at Survivor Series because of the whole Chicago of it.
Yeah, I think if he's not coming back at Survivor Series, they need to, like, Triple H needs to come out in the middle of the ring and say, hey, guys, all kidding aside, he ain't coming back. We haven't signed him. Don't expect it. And you're like, hey, no, don't. He's not coming back at all. We've got to get to SmackDown. SmackDown season premiere. Terrific show. We had two really solid shows this week. SmackDown was more of the newsworthiness. Our boy, LA Knight came out and he went after Roman Reigns. By the way, the memes of LA Knight's glasses with Roman's reflection are fantastic. It just ups him a little bit more. We'll see him more on social media with things that have nothing to do with anything. He asked Roman Reigns point blank, you pissing your pants yet? He said, oh yeah, by the way, tell him whose ring this is or whatever it was. And everyone said LA Knight, yeah. This is awesome. I love it. I still don't think there's a chance in hell he beats him, but I think it's terrific. And let's just go to the main event real quick, and then I'm going to go to Chris first. LA Knight beat Solo Sikoa. That is huge. Solo Sikoa does not lose clean in the middle of the ring. And Chris King, our boy, is here.
Yeah, no, he is arrived. And I popped big in my living room when he turned and looked at Roman. He's like, you pissing yourself yet? It was great. It's why LA Knight has had this ascension. He is just as good on the mic as he is in the ring. I actually thought that he was going to pin Solo Sikoa during the premium live event at Fastlane, but he got the pin against him on SmackDown, which was a great match. It's great for our boy. He did get the spear from Roman at the end, of course, because you got to have Roman come out on top before Crown Jewel.
Yep.
So it's great. I'm also with you. It's Crown Jewel. You guys have taught me, if nothing else, that not to expect a whole lot of changes that happen in Crown Jewel. So I don't expect that belt to change hands.
Rod. Roman Reigns came back for the first time in about a month. Was it still exciting to see him? And then talk to me about the interactions with the LA Knight.
I love that you set me up that way, almost as if you knew that I was going to answer that question twofold anyway. Like you've been podcasting with me for too long now, Jimmy, because I was filled with two absolute sensations in my body of being like, yes, okay, now I see it. This is solid. This is stone cold. This is unequivocated. All right. Roman
Big
Reigns
words.
moves the needle. Okay. Just like the shirt that he has, the electricity in the arena, his performance ability, the largeness of the show, how big people in the ring seem when they're interacting with him. Like Roman Reigns is the show. Okay. Sure, it's his character, and sure, they drive things to help that character's development that way, but he is the show. I totally missed him, was totally excited to see him back. And the other realization that came to me during that segment, Jimmy, was this is all there is for our guy. Okay. There was never really going to be a top of the mountain. Cody Rhodes is already the predetermined guy who's going to take down Roman Reigns and be the number one babyface. And we have a few other people who are already at the top of the card. This is as high as things were ever going to get for LA Knight. And I had a touch of sadness where I was like, man, the movement where this guy was the one that moves the needles and everybody cheers for, this is basically going to go away. He's going to lose to Roman and Riyadh, and he's not really going to get another rematch. And then he's going to be down the card fighting against Grayson Waller and Austin Theory and the Viking Raiders and Kofi Kingston and those guys. And it's just, that's where he's going to be. And he's always going to be charismatic, and we're always going to remember these times fondly. But I was kind of sad about it, Jim. And I bet you didn't think I was going to go there.
Well, but I think you can, because if you look at Sami Zayn, what happened to him? You brought Sami Zayn up. Where was he a year ago? Where was he a few months ago? Mania, they won the titles, a tag team championship match main evented a night of WrestleMania. And while he's still popular, he's not as popular as he was. The crowds still cheer for him. They love him, but not as much as they did. And LA Knight could definitely do that. It depends how the match goes. Does LA Knight have the match won, and then they do the stupid Jey Uso? That would be a story. They do the stupid Jimmy Uso coming in and beating him, and then having Roman Reigns get the win. But again, Chris, I'm getting sick and tired of Roman Reigns always winning in nefarious ways. Let's get him a clean pin, but his next opponent's LA Knight.
Yeah, I'm getting torn there. I want to see him clean pin somebody, but I don't want him to do it to LA Knight, because I want our boy to have some sort of reason to be able to deny that victory or that loss. But yeah, I do want to see a clean pin, but you guys taught me nothing. They're going to wait till it's big, like WrestleMania, before he loses that belt. It's got to be a huge, huge moment, because he is now however many days in. So it's got to be a big, big moment.
Rod, I will say the clean pinning of Solo Sikoa, though, did raise my eyebrows, because even in the past, you would think there would be some kind of run-in where LA Knight gets a pin on Solo Sikoa that's just, it's not a real pin. That was a real pin. A real pin.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about we have to go by what we see, right? And let's think about 5-6 weeks ago, right? They were trucking out Top Dollar out of the back room to take a pin to LA Knight, right?
Yeah.
And then this time they decided to serve up somebody like Solo Sikoa, who's a
Good
guy
point.
who's a confirmed badass, who we see do badass things all the time on SmackDown, who we see involved in main event storylines at the end of SmackDown, right? So they gave him to LA Knight. So that's a big thing for him there, right? Instead of trucking out a guy from the Rap crew that we haven't seen forever and then basically got cut weeks later, they were giving him somebody who's a main player. So that's good for LA Knight. But again, it's just like it's just I can't help but feel a little bit of sadness the whole time we're even talking about this, because it's basically just it's the mountaintop reach for LA Knight, and then now he just moves on, like you said, and he just becomes like a cagey vet, like he's in his Vince Carter stage, right? When Vince Carter played for the Sacramento Kings and the Hawks and the Mavericks and all those teams at the end of his career. That's where LA Knight's going to be, just a solid veteran performer who people still love but never really gets to the top.
Chris
Okay,
King, what are you thinking?
So you keep bringing this up like this may be the top he gets to. I'm not sure I buy that yet. I have remembered times in the past, and I'm going to refer to one of my favorites, Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's a guy that's been at the top, mainlining or headlining WrestleMania, having the World Championship. He's also been on the mid card, getting the U.S. title or the Intercontinental title as well, just because they go back and forth. I think this doesn't necessarily mean we'll never see LA Knight being able to compete for the Universal Championship again.
I hope you're right, Chris. Let me just go on the record by saying I hope Chris is right.
Of course. Well, and hey, good track record, Chris. So I like that. Remember, we also have the world title too. So that's something that can happen, because you will never see someone from SmackDown go to Raw or vice versa. Speaking of which, Triple H announced, his big announcement was Adam Pearce is actually the Raw general manager now. He got promoted. Adam Pearce has done a good job for what he's had to do, and he's a good on-screen character. And then he brings in Nick Aldis to be the SmackDown GM. Now, a couple things. Number one, not many people, including I think 2 of the 3 people on this podcast, know who Nick Aldis was. And it was kind of a, hey, it's Nick Aldis is here, and he just came in. I would have liked a little bit more hey, this is who's coming in. This is what we're doing. Maybe some video packages, pay NWA some money to get some video of him. Nick Aldis is it's interesting. It's kind of like Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce was a huge indie guy for a very, very long time. Never really made it to WWE, right? Nick Aldis, huge indie guy, all the time, married to Mickey James. Thank you very much. Was a recent NWA world champion. Very good in the ring. Still, I think he's like 37, 36, 37. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the ring again. And he is someone who's really good on the mic, has the suit on, tie type of person, your Cody Rhodes, if you will. And I think he had a pretty decent debut for people not knowing who he was. So let's go to Rod. Rod, did you know who he was? And number two, what'd you think of his debut?
Absolutely 100% did not know who he was. And he had me from the moment he started talking when I realized that he had a British accent. So I was completely game there as somebody who loves all things Anglophile, right? Give me the Great British Baking Show. Give me the repair shop. Give me anything that comes out of Britain, and I'm there. So I was all about all this that way. Like that they have him in the ring with Dom, right? Like that the immediate way to get him over is have him make fun of Dom, have him, do the shot. I'm a big fan of your father, you know what I mean? So that was good.
Funny.
That was good by him there. And then also, listen, as somebody who's a huge fan of the Queen, his first official deal was to give Charlotte another title shot. So, I mean, hey, listen, let's go. Nick Aldis, my guy.
You've always been a Nick Aldis fan. Chris King, what'd you think? Because there's no way in hell you knew who he was, which is fine. He's like,
no idea. No idea. For a minute there, I thought, is this the guy that's been announcing that has a British accent? Like, I was so confused. But
no.
I'm with Rod. He got me over. I was over on him as soon as he made that joke to Dom. I thought that was great. That's how he won me over instantly.
Well, that's good. Wonderful. And what he did was he also made an announcement of the trade, because Jey Uso is only on Raw. He does not wrestle on SmackDown at all, especially in the next segment. So they had to make a trade, and they got Kevin Owens, who got a huge pop because he's Kevin Owens. Another really underutilized guy that I hope gets a title run. So, hey, Rod, is LA Knight going to be Kevin Owens?
Now, there you go. That's something, right?
That was really good on your end.
If we get a bit of a angle between those guys, right? Because you could easily see a guy like KO, right? Here's the storyline. Hey, LA Knight, you're flashy, you're charismatic, everybody loves you, but I still am the prize fighter. I still just come into the ring and beat ass. Let's see if you can get by me to actually get your title shot. You know what I mean? Because Kevin still got some unfinished business with Roman, right? Like the last time those two were in a ring together, it was bad days for our guy KO. So I was sad for Sammy instantly on SmackDown, and then that paid off on Raw with Sammy Owens opening that show. But I think it's probably good for the boys to be separated, and absolutely Kevin's going to be fighting against Roman or LA Knight here real soon.
And Chris, they really do need to keep them separated. I would love to see them separated until maybe they get in the Royal Rumble, and they have that moment where they turn and they're the only two in the ring, and then they beat the crap out of each other. So I really did like that. Real quick, Bayley also got a win. Very good win for Bayley. Love to see that. Chris, Jade Cargill, Charlotte Flair, little face-to-face, little head-to-head. Did you like it?
It looks like they measure up to each other pretty well. I think that would be a good match in the ring if that new girl is better in the ring than I guess what she was, according to you. So
Sure.
let's make it happen.
I like that. And then, hey, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Triple H saying, Dom, I thought they pumped those boos in, but they really are booing you a lot. That is breaking like the seventh wall. I loved that comment.
It just shows that Triple H watches our podcast.
Yes, he does. And we appreciate him. Of course, it's the Yeah We Know Podcast, More You Know Podcast Network. You already know, if you're listening to this, how to get to it. So we appreciate all of our loyal listeners there. And then we had Cody Rhodes and Jimmy defeat Theory and Grayson Waller to continue their very long and illustrious tag team title reign. Let's move on to Raw, though. Holy cow. If this is Triple H's first venture into this is my show and my show only, I think it was a pretty good venture. We talked about the Sammy promo a little bit. He was a little mad at Jay, but then was okay with Jay, but kind of still a little mad at Jay.
Jimmy, wait a minute, though. Let's stop there for a second. How much did you think Sammy or Jay was about to hit the other with the chair in the back? Because we've just seen it so many times before.
And that's why they did it, because everyone kind of thought that that's what was going to happen. So I'm really glad it didn't happen. So we'll see where that goes. I mean, this is a very long storyline. Triple H has shown that he can do long-term storytelling. So let's see where that goes there. But I want to talk about Ricochet and Nakamura. The only thing about this match, I kind of wish it was before the Seth Rollins Nakamura match, or because you saw Nakamura go to a different level and get a win. They had to kind of get Nakamura back because he lost to Seth, but Ricochet stepped up. And as soon as Triple H gets any little leeway, Ricochet goes up. And I love it, Chris King.
Yeah, White. That is what a lot of people love about wrestling is these high flying acrobatic, real life stunts that could hurt you, like doing a star moonsault off a railing, holding on to a fan's hand to keep balance before he does it, is something that as wrestling fans we live for. Uh, it was a spectacular match, and yeah, you're not wrong. It seems like every time Ricochet gets a shot, he really shines, whether he's coming on top of the match or not. He puts on a show.
Rod, what can Ricochet do? What's the next step for Ricochet, you think?
Ricochet needs a mouthpiece. All right. Ricochet
Okay.
needs a Bobby Lashley. Ricochet needs an MVP. Ricochet needs somebody, right? Because what Ricochet is even though it's in a small package, Ricochet is an absolute like freak of nature. Okay. He's a guy that can do things that nobody else can do, right? The same way that Brock Lesnar needed a mouthpiece because he was just an absolute, mountain of a man who just would run to the ring like a bull and tear people apart. Right. And then Roman Reigns needed a bit of a mouthpiece because he just never was able to use the microphone well enough to get over with the crowd, even though he's gotten a lot better now. But that's what Ricochet's problem is, man. Anytime it comes to just a match, Ricochet comes out looking like gold. But then when it's like, hey, I'm talking backstage to Ricochet, he just says something that he thinks is going to be slick. It doesn't really land. You know what I mean? Like it just never really works. You don't hate him. You're
Yeah.
not like, oh, that's terrible by Ricochet, but you're never like, oh, you know what? That was as cool as when Drew McIntyre comes out and talks, or when Seth Rollins comes out and talks, or when Cody Rhodes comes out and says something. You know what I mean? He just isn't there. And I think that's what hurts him. But if it's just wrestling, nobody can touch the highlight of the night.
Do you think Nakamura, Chris King, is going to continue to get these big wins and then maybe go after Seth again? Or where do you see Nakamura heading?
So I kind of see Seth losing the belt here soon. I don't know if it's going to be at Crown Jewel.
You know what?
So
You know,
then I think you're going to see Nakamura going after whoever gets the belt after him, or maybe deciding to go after somebody like Gunther. I think a Gunther Nakamura match would be really good as well.
yeah, two bad guys going against each other is difficult sometimes, but I could see that would be another good hard hitting match. Um, a Drew McIntyre and Nakamura again. It's two. Well, Drew McIntyre is of course a babyface and always will be. I could see that though, Rod.
Yeah, I could there. And what my mind just tinged on there for a second when Chris brought up the ring general's name there is what I think Gunther's actually primed for, right? Is the minute you want to turn Gunther face, the crowd is going to be ready for it, right? So, I mean, the
Sure.
minute that you want to make Gunther face and then have him be the guy who's going after Roman, or if it's Drew who has the belt, or, Cody, somebody else, you buy it immediately, right? So I love the idea of somebody going against Gunther and maybe Gunther getting rid of that IC belt and becoming a babyface.
Speaking of meat hitting meat, Gunther Bronson Reed. Gunther is, and I know you two have kind of realized that, such an amazing professional wrestler. He has the gimmick, he has the mic skills, and he can work and make anybody look good, or should I say, look very bad with some chops to the chest. But that was another really solid match between these two, and it's a good win for Gunther, Rod.
Definitely a good win for Gunther. I've sung his praises before. I want to give props to Bronson Reed, all right,
Yep.
because he continues to be a guy who comes out very little fanfare. It's clear that the WWE is trying to serve him up to us, and he is special to me. I mean, he can do things in the matches that are Gunther-esque, in my opinion, Jim. They're Gunther-esque. I think he's really got the ability to make other guys look good. He's that rare big guy who's agile enough to make other people look good. Frankly, it's the reason I always bash on the Viking Raiders, but the reason Ivar gets to work all the time is because he's great at making other dudes look good as well at that size.
Chris, I know you love big, meaty men.
Yeah. This this match was great. All right. Anytime that you see somebody like Bronson Reed on the top rope giving a super suplex to Gunther is must see TV. Okay.
Sure.
And Bronson definitely helping Gunther get himself up for that power bomb at the end was just insane. It made everyone look like believe that Gunther had that much power, which is great. I think both those guys helped each other look even better in the ring. It was a fantastic match. I just wish we had. I mean, I don't have any kind of backstory on Bronson Reed, right? Like, I never hear him talk. He's never talking. He just comes in and beats ass, which is great. But I need something a little bit more for me to really get behind him.
Okay, I like that. Good analysis there. A couple other quick things. Natty lost to Piper Niven, continuing the Piper Niven wins. Chelsea Green loses. That's fine. We'll continue to move on there. Seeing a lot more women on screen, which is terrific. We have Indy Hartwell and Becky Lynch in the back saying Indy Hartwell's like, hey, I never lost that title, and apparently we can just go wherever we want to now, so I'm not sure why I had to give up the title, but whatever. Indy Hartwell is one of those NXT performers that you haven't really seen very much, and she's done a good job. Still learning, but with Becky, she'll do great. Gargano lost to Vinci. And I think where we're going with that is Gargano and Ciampa cannot win on their own, but together they're going to be an amazing team. So we'll DIY that. Really want to buy that new DIY shirt though. By the way, Rod, I really want that DIY shirt. I may have to get that one.
I knew you'd be looking at that one. I want to mention.
I looked to see if they have a long sleeve. I'm not going to lie. I did look to see a long sleeve version of a hoodie type situation.
There you go. There you go. I want to mention two things. Much love always to Natty on this podcast, right? As she is in her swan song days, you got to give all the love in the world to her. She just continues to come out, be charismatic, get pops from people that remember her being in the Hart family, and then just lose to every single person she ever wrestles against. So God bless you, Natty, for being willing to always be on your back. And Jimmy, are we going to completely breeze by the fact that Nikki ASH or Nikki Cross, I guess, was sitting in the back there? You could have convinced me she was part of all the cuts that happened. And then there she was sitting in the back and nobody made mention of it whatsoever. And we saw how something in the back paid off with Drew and Rhea. So I'm wondering where in the world Nikki Cross sitting behind all these ladies is going to pay off for us. Because I like me some Nikki Cross. She's a fireball.
Nikki Cross is a fireball. She's good in the ring. She's not going to win every match, and that's fine. She doesn't need to because WWE needs people like that. And we had Rhea Ripley and Shayna Baszler go after each other, and shocking, folks, just shocking that there was a lot of interference. We can't get too far away from that. But then that sets up a 5-way at Crown Jewel that Shayna Baszler will definitely beat Rhea Ripley in that 5-way, right? No, it's not gonna. No, Chris. Chris is like, dude, what are you talking about?
I mean, if they do a 5-way, I gotta imagine that the belt won't be on the line, right? It'll just
No,
be.
it's on the line. Oh, it always is. Oh yeah, 1 against 4, baby.
Then
is this going to be the only women's match then as well, Jim? Since we're basically trucking 5 of them out into the same match, is this basically the only women's match they're going to give us?
I think so. I think that would be probably the only match. There may be a Becky Lynch match on there as well, depending on what she's doing.
Yeah, they'll definitely want to see the man over there. She's wrestled before too, so we got to remember that. That's the other reason why I think, Chris, your guy Drew here. Let's go ahead and finish on maybe Drew real quick as we're going out like we started with. Your guy Drew is just being trucked out here, basically, Chris, in the Goldberg spot, all right, in the Brock Lesnar spot, right? Like that's good for your guy that he's got that kind of name recognition that the casuals over in Saudi Arabia are like, oh, Drew McIntyre's coming. That's a big name for our main event, but he's absolutely not beating Seth Rollins, and you know this, Chris. You know this, and this is what will further push him into psychosis, and he will become the dark, white, always wearing heel that Jimmy and I are trying to prepare you for him that he will become.
I mean, Seth Rollins barely survived that last fight with Shinsuke Nakamura. I don't know if you can expect him to survive a 20-minute battle with the Scottish Warrior.
So we then end with the main event. Judgment Day gets the titles back over Jay and Cody. This means to me that we are starting the build for Cody and Roman at Mania. That's all it means. We're going to have a rematch next week, I'm sure, for the tag team titles that they will lose again. And now we are going to continue the Jay Uso, I guess, elevation to main event status and figuring out what that storyline is going to be. I'm very intrigued by this, Rod.
Yeah, it was mighty cool to see Cody and Roman going face to face there for the first time in quite a while, right? Seeing them just kind of stand off and look at one another there. So that was fun on SmackDown. And then seeing the guys lose the belt, I had the same thought as you. I'm like, okay, cool. And that means that we are then now we're starting to we're getting to Survivor Series, we're getting to Royal Rumble, we're getting to WrestleMania after we get done with Riyadh here. So let's get into the big business and lots of available lanes. I will be waited with bated breath to see what they do with the tribal chief in the American Nightmare.
Chris, you excited?
Okay, so I'm wondering if Triple H. Listen, okay, when I knew Triple H, he was a part of D-Generation X, right? One of the biggest factions ever in WWE.
Sure. And that was like your 40th birthday, right?
It was a while ago, yes.
Okay.
So I see Triple H as a guy who likes the faction type storylines. And we're already
Correct.
seeing a big push with Bloodline for a long time, Judgment Day now for a while. Do you see them creating a faction with each other and then another larger faction on the other side with your Cody Rhodes, your LA Knight, your Drew McIntyres, and that type of thing, and seeing a large type of faction?
Listen, Chris,
Rod is
what you just
jumping
did
over the
right here,
table.
what you just did is you're the lawyer in the courtroom who just said a little bit too much, and then you gave a little ammunition to the other side there. I completely forgot about Drew, your guy, talking to Rhea Ripley. How's that not a heel move, being in bed with the Judgment Day? Come on, how's that not heelish out of your guy?
Okay, we also saw Jimmy and Rhea having conversations, but Jay and Rhea having conversations, but Jay's still a babyface. See, you like to talk back and forth all the time. You will support Kevin Owens and Jay Uso, but when Drew does the exact same thing that those guys do, he's all of a sudden turning heel.
Jey Uso was trying to smash, all right? That's what Jey Uso was doing, talking to Rhea Ripley. So that's kind of different than whatever
Listen,
your guy was doing, right?
Rhea came to him. Maybe she was trying to smash. Lord knows she's probably looking for something other than Dom Dom.
Wow. The
Wow,
excuses
Dom
Chris
just
makes for Drew McIntyre, Jimmy, are just, I mean, I'm blown away by them week after week.
Yeah, Dom just kind of out of nowhere there, huh? I don't know if I like that there, bud. We have a ton going on, and we are so excited. I cannot wait to see the next couple of weeks go on. If the rest of this season of WWE is better than it goes along with the first couple of weeks, it's going to be terrific. We have a ton coming up in the Morgan You Know podcast universe. We have obviously NFL. Bears are down again. The Colts, we don't have to do the JT watch. And we don't have to do the AR watch either because we know what's happening with him. So that'll be fun to talk about there. We have NBA previews coming up as well. And then, Rob, we have a little something fun coming up on the Morgan You Know, the Big Boy podcast, if you will.
That's right. The namesake, the one that started it all. But I got to mention here that Chris, your Dallas Cowboys, all right, they are going to be a topic of conversation. That always puts you anxious. But you know what else is going to be a topic of conversation? The old TANK word with the Indianapolis Colts. All right, buddy, it's time to reassess what the Colts need to do for the rest of the year. So get ready for some fireworks on the Balls and Brew show. But what Jimmy is alluding to is we have cooked up a draft. Okay. And in the past, we have drafted a team to save the world. So maybe we've leaned on folks having to have action movies as part of their oeuvre. We have done sports themed drafts in the past. We have drafted the best rock and roll band. The draft we have cooked up now, I am comfortable in saying every single person on the planet will have an opinion on this draft. And they have probably numerous occasions during their weekly lives to cash in on every single thing we will talk about in this draft, Jimmy. How's that for a tease?
And with that, you've been listening to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the Morgan You Know's podcasting network. You're in the ring with Jimmy, Chris, and Rod.
Goodbye, net. Yeah.